you sometimes feel invisible or irrelevant when you're out with friends or family and you feel as if you're just somehow not part of what's going on? Well, I have some remedies for you, especially if you are in your elderly years like Lucy and I are. This relates mostly to us living the simple life most of the time, but every once in a while getting out and being with family and knowing how to engage so that we feel as if there are other people that might be interested in what we have to offer. Well, we're going to have a little chat about this today, and I'm going to tell you about some ways that Moosey and I have noticed how we can pull out of this and what works for us. Well, we're on our way to San Diego. It's 7:30 in the morning on Sunday morning, and we should be down there for breakfast when Dane fixed my lox and bagels. So we're going to spend the weekend with Mikey and Sabrina and the kids. The kids have Monday off. It's President's Day, and we'll find something fun to do. Dane is playing his trumpet at the 5 o'clock Mass on Sunday at church, so we will be attending Mass. We have about a 2-hour drive ahead of us. It's a beautiful sunny day, which is why I have my cap on. It hides the sun when it gets in my face when I start going down the 15. Now I got to get Moosey out and in the car, and off we go. You know, I think everyone, no matter what age you are, everyone does feel this type of emotion every once in a while in their lifetimes. But especially as you get older, and I've talked about this before, that circle of love, that when your kids and your grandkids are little and young, oh, you are their center of attention. They want to sit with you, listen with you, paint with you, play with you, do anything with you more than anything. But as they grow older, their little circle of love gets bigger. They have friends. Of course, they have their parents. But then it gets more. They still love you. They still care for you. But you're not the center of their attention anymore. And that can happen with friends or strangers or anyone, because there is that darn old stereotype of older men and women that they just don't have anything relevant to say anymore. And that's not true. So many people can learn from older adults about life, about life experiences, about so many things, if they only would forget that stereotype. Now, this seems to work for us, especially when we have a weekend away with children and grandchildren. Or it doesn't even have to be a weekend. It could be a visit where they come and stay with you for a little while, and somehow you figure out how to capture the attention of everyone else, or perhaps the children. And in our case, we love to just be with the kids. And Moosey has always said that's what keeps him going, are those little kids, even if they just sit on his lap and just chit-chat with him about nothing. Sometimes, though, I think we have the perception that what we're saying is really important. And you know what? It probably is. But if someone is not at that moment that you're trying to talk to them into what you're saying, it's just not going to work, and it's going to make you feel terrible. But for us, living a simple life in our 80s, I do myself get out once in a while. I get to go to the thrift shops. I get to food shop. I get to see my daughters for breakfast in every once in a while. But Moosey, being somewhat immobile and having had these accidents right now, he's in a neck brace for life because he broke his neck. He doesn't get out as much. And it's nice when kids come to visit, but it's even more exciting when he has an outing. And we had one this past weekend down to San Diego, where we spent the weekend with Mikey and Sabrina. Mikey is our 5th child, and their 3 children. And they make, I think I have to thank Mikey and Sabrina as much as anyone else, because they make sure that the kids are there that weekend. The kids are told ahead of time, would you like to have Moosey and Nanny down for the weekend? And they know that when we come, they're there for us and for themselves to engage with each other. And we know that. And we play a lot of board games. We do so many things with them where we're interacting all the time. And they find that, hey, we're just as much fun maybe as their parents or maybe even friends. And I think that happens over time that grandchildren especially and little grandchildren now they love you no matter what you're saying anyway, but there are ways to capture the attention, and you have to be mindful of your audience. And are they getting, now, being a teacher, of course, this is something that I've learned years ago. And the old saying is that if your kids are not learning, then you've got to change your teaching techniques. And I've often done that. And it's not always the kids' fault if they're not learning a concept. And so I've gone into that. And you have to be able to perceive. Life is about perception, to perceive as you're interacting, are they getting me? Are they enjoying me? And if so, just go for it and continue. But you do have to know whether you're relating with the audience. And there are ways to do that. Number one is keep it short, especially if you're dealing with kids, and get the concept across right away, maybe in a storytelling way. And remember that a story has its setup. There's always a beginning, an ending, a conclusion of a conflict, a resolution. Stories have forms to them. Don't get distracted and run off with the, especially with children. Stay within the concept of what makes a good story, and you'll have them, especially if you choose the right topic. You know, within a short amount of time, as you are with certain groups of people, whether it's grandkids or a big group of people you've just met or what, you know whether you are syncing with these people. And if you don't know, you've got to tune into that. Tune into it. And if you see that what you're saying just isn't going across, or if your actions are not, then switch to something else or let them bring the conversation around. It's a tricky thing being older. We all feel that from time to time, that we're just here. Everybody's forgotten about us. That happens to everybody. You are not alone in those feelings. But but take the time to figure out how to make it right. You can do it, ladies and gents. Now, we did all sorts of things this weekend.
Our struggles.
Packing up. Involved in board games with them. They love board games. They have a whole closet full of them. And every time we go down there, we get involved with them and play the board games.
A noun.
What's the name of this game?
A noun. My noun.
Starts with an
It's
F.
headbands with a Z.
Headbands. I remember playing this with Lizzie a long time ago. This is really funny. This doggy came from me. Doesn't he look real? I mean, really. I remember buying this dog, putting it in my cart, and people walking by my cart wanting to pet him and smiling. And even when I finally got out to the car and I put him in the front seat, one lady walked up to the window thinking he was real. Huh? Yum. Mikey cutting up tomatoes. Oh boy. Here's my Mikey. Here's the capers ready to go on. Oh, I love the capers. The tomatoes, and we have red onions.
Do it lightly toasted.
Look at all these beautiful flowers here. Mikey had a lot of Valentines to bring flowers to. Now, in this very brief clip or bunch of clips that I've put on of the children at the table, in fact, Mikey and Sabrina and myself were all there too, Muzi did manage to totally capture the attention of the children, and he was directing his conversation toward them. And he started with a story about when he was younger and involved something about when he was in the Army. Here we are having the wonderful President's Day breakfast.
The first Friday we had a rally for the football team. And the coach got up there and said, we're gonna...
had something to do with prayer, and that how you memorized prayers when you were little, and you said, Hail Mary, full of grace, Lord, our Father who art in heaven, help you. And you say words, but you're not thinking about the words, what the words are meaning. And so he was talking about how his prayers nowadays are more about how he just talks to God as a real person, or to Mary, or to Jesus. And he was talking about, believe it or not, talking about the story about the wedding of Cana. He was telling the kids in a normal conversation, in their down to their level. He was speaking down to their level, but he was making it interesting, and their eyes were riveted on him as he spoke about how sometimes he relates to Mary, because Mary was Jesus's mother, and when he prays to Mary, she intercedes. And what he's saying is, Mary, can you please tell Jesus that if he can help me in this area? First of all, he knew that he captured the attention of the children, so he went for it. It was just a little lesson. I don't know whether it was a lesson in prayer. Of course, we had been to Mass with the children the night before. And whether it was in relation to that, I don't know why he chose that. But I tell you, he felt so good that he was able to, when that was over, they had questions and they were very involved. It made him feel so good, I'm going to use that word again, relevant, that he could actually, as an 88-year-old grandpa, get something into those children that they might remember the rest of their lives. We just interacted with the kids so all day long, both days. We played the board games, we had our meals together, we had a couple of wonderful suppers, and we even sat and watched a movie with them all through the movie. They had the lights out, the fire on, and Megan went around with chocolates for everyone. And just, Mikey and Sabrina do make everything very wonderful for us and make us feel as if we're just a real part of everything. And that's what we want to feel, don't we, my friends? Isn't this wonderful, Mose, huh? Do we enjoy these weekends? That's for sure.
Couldn't want more from worth life.
Look at all these loved ones. My handsome Mikey. I should have cut this in half, but look at that. They did a great job, didn't they?
A lavender flower, or would you rather have Charlie, your sleeve is in the trenches.
We want to feel as if we are still, when we're in those super ager years, part of a life where we can still offer something to children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, friends. Just to be included is a great feeling. And I hope that I hope this happens to you. And if you have some of those little misses, don't worry about it. Just try again. But I know a lot of you say you live alone, you don't need social interaction, and that's fine. If you don't need it, that's great. But for those of you who need it, not all the time, just once in a while, think about everything before. Think about how you can relate. You probably will. By the way, this is my 4th day of a scrunchy hairdo, and I think it's probably on its last legs about now. Maybe the next day, maybe tomorrow, I'll try scrunchie on top of my head and a nice little ball on the head, and then I think we're done with this hairdo. So thanks so much for listening to this. I know this is a topic that we all worry about from time to time, and there are ways to be a part of life still and be vibrant. Tell stories of your life that might be interesting to those who are listening, and test it. Test yourself with people from time to time too, to see if they're engaged. And you can tell when people are engaged in what you're doing. And sometimes you don't even have to talk. You just have to be part of everything, laughing, enjoying, playing games, your humor, whatever. Thanks so much for listening, my friends. Moosey and I just had a great weekend, and we wanted to share this with you, that for us, and especially Moose, having a weekend away where he's completely a part of a whole family is just a great feeling. And we came back just getting back into our little simple routine and looking forward to the next time something like this can happen. Thanks so much for being here, for being supportive. I love you all. Bye for now, and God bless us all.